Hello everyone, and welcome to the Human Art Project. My name is Angie, and I'm your very real human artist. The Human Art Project is an anti-AI movement. All of the artistic endeavors on this channel are meant to be fun, inspirational, silly, messy, and enriching, all in the hopes of reigniting the creative spirit. Today, I'm going to try something new, SuperCell painting, with a hint of ingenuity thrown in for good measure. Stick around, and I'll show you a step-by-step so you too can make your very own masterpiece. You may recognize this Lazy Susan from a previous video. My thought process was to somehow make this spin with the aid of a cordless drill. Seems pretty simple for a bumpy brain like me. Yup, just make it spin with a drill. I'd need the base to sit on something stationary, of course, and then I'd need to install something in the spinny bit that would attach to the drill, and then the drill would power the turntable, right? Right? So I gave up on that plan. Instead, I thought, what if I just attached a board with a bolt through the center, which the drill could attach to, and then spin the canvas without the need for the Lazy Susan? Genius. So I cut my board to size and found the center. Next, I measured the width of the frame, which was 4 centimeters, then marked off 2 centimeters in from each side. This is where I was going to place the screws to secure the board to the canvas. I then proceeded to drill holes in my board using my almost completely dead drill. I drilled smaller holes on the ends, then a larger hole in the center where the bolt was going to go. I want to just take a minute to appreciate how utterly amazing my workbench is. A box filled with styrofoam on a lawn chair. What? So good! Anywho, I then put a nut on the bolt, tightened it to the board. Not seen here is the tightening process because you don't need to see that. I'm trying to be conservative with my time. Then I screwed the board to the canvas using my screwdriver because again, my drill was almost dead. Success! It spins! I promptly went inside and charged the drill's battery. Here is the paint set I used. It's a SuperCell paint kit, something I haven't tried before. I've done abstract swirly paintings in the past, however, in those cases I just used watered down acrylic, pre-mixed in cups, which I could then pour onto a canvas to my heart's content. Safety first, this time I'm putting down a drop sheet. Time to prep my paints. This particular set comes with 5 colors, a silicone cup, and some popsicle sticks for stirring and making patterns with. You can apparently make your own cell pouring paint using acrylic paint and then some kind of activator like silicone oil, whatever that is. I might try this in the future as I have a buttload of acrylic paint and it'll give me more variety in colors. But for now, this is a good place to start and enough paint to experiment with. I'm starting with white in this case and then building up the colors layer by layer, color by color, until I think I have enough paint. Then, using the flip cup method, I dump the paint out in the middle of the canvas. This is where I definitely know I do not have enough paint. Oh well, maybe if I move it around it'll redistribute. I blow through a straw to try to move the paint around and notice 2 things. 1, the paint is not moving as freely as I thought it would, and 2, yeah, I need to mix more paint. I layer up more colors in my silicone cup, then try to fill in the white of the canvas. I move the canvas around and use the straw to fill in the gaps, and then do a really good job moving the canvas out of sight of the camera. Good job, me! With camera work that would make Spielberg blush, I continue to agitate the paint because frankly, I'm feeling a little agitated. I'm also intermittently using the straw to redistribute the paint and try to cover some of the white gaps. This is a process that only you will know when it's done to your liking. Just keep doing your thing. I don't care, man. Do whatever. We're just making art, not saving lives, people. Hey, here's an extended time lapse just for you. Enjoy. And here it is. Not bad, not bad. I really like this middle portion that looks like a bird's head. In fact, I see a blue jay in there somewhere. Go Jays! Sigh. You know what? Even though I didn't cover all of the white, I still think it's a pretty interesting composition. After it's fully dried, you can really see the intricate details of the cells. It's really quite beautiful. And there's definitely a bird's head in there somewhere. I really like this densely packed section here. It reminds me of a Klimt painting. Not to compare myself to Klimt, I would never. Each portion has its own individual patterns and swirls and cells. What's fun about this style of painting is its chaotic nature. You truly have no idea what it's going to look like in advance. I must say, I'm pleasantly surprised with how this turned out. Take 2. So, I decided that the paint wasn't as free-flowing as I would have liked, and if I'm applying centrifugal force to it, I want it to spread, dang it. I'm adding a bit of water to each bottle and giving them a shake. Next, I'm making a box to encase the painting, so when I attach it to the drill, the paint is contained and doesn't turn my garage into a Jackson Pollock painting. Wow, I dropped 2 historical painters' names in one video. It's getting wild up in here. Look guys, I charged my drill. Here I am mixing the paint together as I did earlier, so I don't really need to explain it again. My hope is that I mix enough this time and that it spreads across the surface of the canvas once it's spun. Fingers crossed. I dump the paint onto the center of the canvas, and it looks as though the paint is more fluid than previously, so even though the surface isn't entirely saturated, I decide to move on to the drill. I close up the box using packing tape, so there are no gaps, and then I move on to attaching the bolt to the drill head. I then give it a few whirls, and because the paint is quite watery, assume that it will be enough. I really won't know until I've unsheathed it, however. Let's take a look-see. Oh yeah, no, that wasn't remotely enough. That's okay though, this was an experiment. I really don't know what I'm doing, but when life gives you lemons, throw more paint at it, and paint a lemon tree or something. But first, I'm going to give it another open air spin, cause that seems like a super smart idea. Go Bumpy Brain! I just want to point something out here. I've basically turned my box work surface into a turntable. So, could I just have avoided all of this nonsense and just used the Lazy Susan on its own with no mechanical assistance? Yes, I could have. And just like that, this narrative has come full circle. Hey, you're welcome. Hollywood couldn't have bookended it as well as I just did. To finally cover the entire canvas, I'm manually spreading the paint across the surface with a popsicle stick, spinning it, then adding a little more paint to add dimension. She's coming together. Stick around a little longer for the finished product. And here's the finished painting. So pretty! It almost looks like the Earth from outer space, a cross-section of a semi-precious stone, or the ocean swirling and frothing. In any case, I think it turned out really beautiful. I love the interplay of colors and patterns and how they organically dance across the surface of the canvas. And those are my feet. Thank you so much for watching my video. Now, go make something cool.